Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Men Who Cry podcast. Like, subscribe, review, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. If you do not do these things, I have to assume you like wearing sweatshirts in the summertime. On today's episode, it's just your boy back at it again, like the white vans. We're actually going to have I don't know if this will be our first podcast ever done without there being any real sports being talked about. But this will be the first one, I think, in a while that we've done this. We were talking about a lot of things around the sports world that does absolutely nothing to do with sports in itself, which, if you guys know me, you're listening to this podcast, are one of my favorite podcasts to do. But like I said, please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and enjoy the summer, which is what I'll be doing for you guys. I have little post notes at the end of this episode. But coming up, we're talking about people getting fired. So according to The Athletic's Andrew Marchand, if you guys do not know, Andrew Marchand is I would say, I don't really have a person to compare him to, but he's basically the guy who lets you know about the behind the scenes of like sports media stuff, like who's in and who's out, who's getting job extensions, things like that. He is reporting that Joy Taylor is out at FS1, including her show Speak. It will be taken off the air at the end of this. I don't know if it's the end of this month, but it's ending soon. Craig Carton is also gone, as well as his show Breakfast Ball has been canned, and they are getting rid of the show called The Facility. Now, if you have not heard of most of these shows, it's very understandable. Not a lot of people watch them. But the thing I want to focus on here is a bit about Joy Taylor. So, she's been in a controversy for the last year. She was named in the lawsuits against FS1 and Charlie Dixon for sexual harassment of a makeup artist who used to work at FS1. She no longer works there, the makeup artist. And Joy's been kind of just in the news, I would say, for that reason, for a lot of it. I think the thing that's come about, and this article that makes it hard and a little bit strange, is that Joy is someone who's been in sports media for a long time. If you do not know, Joy Taylor is the sister of one Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor, for people who do not know, is a Hall of Fame defensive end, or was a Hall of Fame defensive end. I believe his son now just got drafted as well, so her nephew is now playing. I'm pretty sure he's a tight end. But the reason why I bring this up, and the reason why this is known, is that she has been in sports, or the sports world, for her entire life, you know? And I didn't even realize at the time, maybe it's because she didn't have her shows for that long. She was working at FS1 for 10 years. And now she's going to have a new home, which ultimately, if you work in the industry, working at a company for 10 years like FS1 is a major accomplishment. She outlasted Skip, from working at FS1. She outlasted Shannon Sharp working at FS1. Chris Carter, like so many people went through it. And she is somewhat of a name that just sparks a lot of controversy. Speaking of she is a woman, which we do not like in this country as much. And she would have takes that I think a lot of people vehemently disagreed with in the fact of which she is a woman. But the reason why I'm talking about this in the way is that of what I mentioned before, is that Joy Taylor is the lead headline of essentially not working for FS1, as opposed to someone like Chris Carton. Chris Carton, who, if you don't know, is the antithesis of a guy to get more chances than he deserved. This guy used to be on WFAN, who said some outrageously offensive things, got caught gambling, went to prison, and then had not one but two shows made for him at FS1. And again, back to reporting, it seems like he's going to go back to WFAN after all this is done. A man of many, many lives. And the reason why I bring this up, and the reason why this is clear, is that the issue that you tend to see in a lot of sports media tends to not be the what someone says, as opposed to the whom these people are saying it, right? I will just give my own personal opinion. I do not know who Joey Taylor is as a person. I've never met this person at all. I couldn't stand listening to her talk about sports. Now, that's just me. And as I just mentioned to you before about my own issues with Craig Carton, I simply try to look at people in this sports world and give my opinion about whether I like their takes or do not like their takes based on what they have to say. Unfortunately, we are no longer in the space where that can just be the conversation. It has to a lot of times be acquitted with, you do not like her because she's a woman. No, I actually respect her more I respect her more in the sense that she's able to say these things, even if I vehemently disagree with everything that she is saying. The idea now that we're going to have Craig Carton back on the air, back on New York radio after he went to prison for something is, there's no other, high stakes hypocrisy that could be shown, and the future remains unclear for what Joy does. Joy has her podcast, which I don't really think talks about sports as much, but we will see if she's able to land on her feet in some capacity. But the idea that these two are out at one job and one already has another job essentially lined up. Again, we'll see if it goes through or not. But I mean, Craig Carton, people like this guy, so I would be very shocked if he is not on WFAN anytime soon. It speaks to the level of hypocrisy that you will see, and to the idea that someone like Joy Taylor should be out of sports. Because while I gave my piece about her opinions beforehand, the whole point of this, so the idea of this, is to get people to think about you and talk about you in some capacity. There are a lot of people that say a lot of things about sports that you do not know, right? However, it is those who are able to break through the mold and get you to think about things in a certain way are the ones who last and the ones who keep doing and get gigs in this way. And that's what Joy Taylor has done. So I'll give her credit for what she has done in this industry and what she continues to do. But the fact remains that she is now out, and it will be a very interesting place to see if she's able to get some type of major gig like this again. Because it doesn't seem like the hosting is what she wants to do anymore. And she's more about giving the takes. And we'll see if there'll be anyone out there to pay for her to give her her takes. However, these takes here come from your boy Josh, and we'll be sliding over to some more positive news in a sense, where we'll be talking about the Clipse album, where I don't know how many memes I've seen of people saying I'm quitting my 9-to-5 to start getting into the snow business, but this is where we're at. The Clipse released their long anticipated album. So let's figure it out. And it is very, very good. And I think the thing that not only makes it so good is that the music, I think, not only match the vision of what these two men want to do, including Pharrell. Shout out to Pharrell for producing the entire album, but showed you what actual rollouts actually mean, hitting all the different places that you need to go. I mean, these guys did podcasting. They went on Colors to perform. They did the Breakfast Club. I don't know if they did Hot 97. They did Apple Music, a concert there. Like, it was a clear showing that we are putting our money into this album. And you got, I think, one of the best albums of the year. It's definitely going to be up there. Not just a hip hop album. I'm talking about one of the best albums of the year. And it's incredible to think that, the guys who are running rap at this moment are either pushing 40 or almost into their 50s. And one of the things that I think when I was growing up as rappers, when I was growing up listening to rap, was the idea that it was a young man's sport. Every single rapper that I was listening to who was hot, or like the guy who was coming for the title, was super young, early 20s, mid 20s, things like that. And I just don't think we have that like next wave of generation of rap stars. And I think there's two reasons for that. One is there is a level of hypercriticism that we have now on rappers, especially young rappers, where it's hard for them to break through and for people to really invest in them. What I mean by that is, if you look at someone like Tyler, the Creator, who, if you go back to listen to Yonkers, that guy is not the same guy who is out here, you know, on a Clipse album, right? He's not the same guy. He's not the same guy that's making Flower Boy. He's not the same guy making Cherry Bomb. He's not Igor, all those guys. And I don't remember what it was on, but it was on, sorry, I don't remember what the show was, but it was on Hulu. I thought it was like Rap Stories or something like that, where he talked about the fact that he basically was just effing around for the first couple albums and now it was like, oh, I have to take this seriously, and got it to a point where he needs to be. And it goes back into what happens when you have a super, super capitalistic mindset, or just a super capitalistic society. There's no now room for you to just play, right? I mentioned this before on one of the podcasts too, where it's like, we've gotten so much into the money of like, you need to just hurry up and rush up and get to the money, that you're not even allowed to just play. We don't really see a lot of kids who are NBA players with the potential to become into the league just playing basketball, right? They're at IMG. They're at all these other academies. They're at all these other facilities working on their game, getting their handle down, to the point where you just lose that artistry in the ability just to like play your game, get to where you want to do and do all that stuff. The same thing's happening in rap, where how many rappers do we know who can make 1, 2, 3 either mediocre or albums that just don't seem to really connect with people, that get a 4th album, they get a 5th album, right? I think of someone like Mac Miller. It took him a long time for him to really get the fame and kind of the cult following that he eventually found, but he had to make a couple of albums that don't sound great, you know? Like Macadelic was a really good project, but, you know, it's kids that maybe isn't the best thing. It's a lot of like little like happy-go-lucky rap to get him to get to there. And to even, for something like Macadelic, for him to even go further on and making Watching Moves with the Sounds Off, those albums don't sound alike. So the type of like capitalistic kind of setting of these things, I think, is kind of quelled all the creativity that's possible. And the second thing, and honestly, I think this is the biggest thing, is that how many people want to be rappers anymore? And I'm not saying that facetiously, I'm being serious. How many people on the age of 20 want to be a rapper? Like the idea of that not being your first thing that you want to come into your brain of like, what do I want to do? I feel like if I asked any 8, 9, 10-year-old, what do you want to be when you grow up? I feel like a podcaster is up there. I think a streamer is up there as well. And that's the biggest thing. All these guys now have just entered the space of streaming, right? And it's not even so of like a criticism of them. It's just what's making money. Why did most people go into rap? It made you money. That's what streaming does. Okay. So if you take a child and you put them in a creative space, and this new thing's the thing that's going to make them money, and they feel like it's either easier or it's not as tough to do, they're going to go with that type of case. That's why you have a guy like Playboy Max, who's, again, he's featured on this song with Fred again, called Victory Lap, which, to be honest, I love that record. I don't know what he's doing. I've asked around. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me what he's actually doing on this record, but it doesn't seem like he produced it. It doesn't seem like he's rapping, singing, or doing anything. He's just featured on the song. I don't know if it was because it was on his stream. Like, I'm not exactly sure where his creativity is actually placed in this. And it's a very, I wouldn't necessarily say concerning, because ultimately I think you will still have some rapper grow from this. It might just not happen now, but someone will come around and make something that's so breathtaking that some people will just have to listen to. But it has been a while since we've had anybody really come in and snatch the stage who's born after 2000. Just there's not really someone around like that. So we'll see how long it takes place for that to be able to even go through and come out. But the last big thing, and we're going to talk about this more later on next week, is if you haven't seen or saw, it is now official. This story actually came out in May, but maybe I just missed it. The game Uno is now being allowed to be played at specific Vegas casinos. Yes, you can now play Uno at a specific casino in Vegas for the bread. Okay. Now, obviously, this story has made me decide to fly to Vegas expeditiously to go play this, right? If you're around my age, a little older than younger than me, you know how to play Uno. But the biggest thing is that how you know how to play Uno will make or break any type of relationship that you have with people. Okay? Because the thing is, what's happening here is that when this Uno thing's got to get set up, two things need to be established. One, what are the official rules at this casino for us playing Uno? Three things, I guess. Number two, how quickly can we convince the dealer to change the rules to fit the way we want to play at the casino? And three, we're going to have people separated. Now, I myself have never gotten into fisticuffs over Uno. However, it doesn't mean that fisticuffs will not be about if you have people playing for Uno. Could you imagine if you got someone out there gambling with their rent money and someone hit you with a swap hands right before you got the last card? Or imagine if they call you for not saying Uno. That happened to me 3 weeks ago. I was playing Uno at a picnic in Prospect Park. I've never heard of this before in my life. Someone said, what did they say? I think it was like a Uno 2 or something like that, because they had two of the same cards in their hand. It was like the same. It was like threes. It was a red 3 and a blue 3. But she had two of them. And on the third card she pulled said like it was like Uno dos or something like that. And I was like, what is that? That was a whole argument. That's what I need, okay? Because people are going to swing if you allow them to go in there and play this game without any type of like rules being established very early, and if you allow people to renege on the rules, okay? Renege on the rules. It cannot be this type of display, okay? And also, I'm being honest. This is going to end up being a black game, okay? Because I know Uno's for everybody, but I do not think there is enough talk about the cultural acceptance of Uno in the black community. And we do not get a lot of things anymore in society. But what did LeBron James say about Christmas Day? This is our day. Uno's for us, okay? So whoever's running this Uno spot in Vegas, I'm telling you this right now, for you to get the best money possible, right? For the house to win the most, you got to copy whatever they do in Magic City and bring it to this spot. I'm so serious. Whatever they do, that's what you need to do. Because if you're able to create the essence, listen, I'm a vegan here, okay? I would go to Magic City in seconds, okay? It is a great establishment, okay? You need to have that vibe, that verb be in your Uno spaces. And that, my friend, you will be lining your pockets for decades, okay? We will be having funding for anything you need at this Uno facility in Vegas because it's that popular and that poppin', okay? So we need to have that same type of energy that they have there, bring it to the Uno studios out there in Vegas. So yes, programming note for y'all, because that's all we have for today. So again, thank you for all listening. Next week, we will have one pod. This week, we will have one more pod. We will be actually doing the WNBA podcast with Nina. Apologies for the delay on my end. But the following week, we will just have one podcast that will be recorded a little bit earlier in the week because I'll be having a little bit of a vacation time for you guys. And I will be back for you guys come August. So just two more podcasts for the rest of the month. And then come August, your boy will be back. But like I said, thank you guys again for listening to the Men Who Cry podcast. Always like, always share, always review. I'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. All right.